Hello, everyone. Welcome. I think we can start. In the meantime, I think there will be some latecomers, but this is no problem. So let me share my presentation. In the meantime, I'll be making a short introduction. Hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
War against Hamas.
Thank you. And Alice, please mute the microphone of whoever is not speaking so we don't have overlapping microphones and audios in the meantime. So thank you everyone for joining the second webinar of the series mGov4EU, dedicated to projects that are part of the eGov cluster. This is a high-level webinar that has been organized by Project Across in collaboration with other projects of the same call. And today we have speakers from Across Project and mGov4EU and Glass Project. And the topic of today is centered around personal data sovereignty, because as you will see from the speaker's presentation, this project has tackled the subject in particular in the solutions implemented through the research projects. So I will make a brief introduction. My name is Jasmine Jabbarpour, and I'm project manager and research associate at the Lisbon Council. That is a Brussels-based policy think tank. And today, I have the pleasure actually of having some amazing speakers that are joining me in this high-level webinar for the presentation of a cross and transparency dashboard component. We have Enrique Arizaga, digital transformation manager at Tecnalia, based in Spain. For Project Glass and e-governance paradigm, we have Marisa Conidi, senior project manager at Unisystem. And finally, from Project mGov4EU, we have Detlef Hunlein, that will present Monolith Project, also the IDA signer and wallet component. Detlef is CEO and founder of Exact Company. After each speaker will give their presentation and focus on the project and a solution developed, we will have a session of debate and discussion around these solutions, because they all tackle certain topics in particular that are, as I already mentioned in the beginning, are around personal data sovereignty, but in particular what they are focused on especially is the citizen-centered approach. And I'm going to get into that detail in just a few seconds. So first of all, as I mentioned in the beginning, and if someone that is joining today has joined also last week webinar that we had with projects Interlink and eGov. Also mGov4EU and Glass belong to the same cluster as Across, called the eGov cluster. These are all projects that are financed under the Horizon 2020 DT governance topic, as you can see here, that in particular is centered around new forms of delivering public goods and inclusive public services. So the challenge that these research projects have revolves around the scope of the changing role of government as a provider of services. So not only manager, but also as a provider. This falls under the category of a provider under digital democracy. So meaning that government is providing more and more tools and incentive for co-creation approaches that need to involve public-private partnership, private-public companies, and find new approaches to deliver public services to citizens and also to other actors, all in name of the public values that the governments are grantor of course, in the long term. So the challenge that these projects have been facing, and I say have been because this is a peculiar time in the life course of these projects. They have all started in 2021, and now they are ending. In particular, mGov4EU and GLASS are ending in the month of December, and Across will be ending at the beginning of 2024, so next year. And this is an interesting occasion to look back at what these projects have developed through the course of 3 years, but also to look forward of what can be the further developments of the solutions that have been realized under this project, to understand and discuss if the actual outputs can sustain the challenge that the eGov cluster is supposed to tackle. So as reported here, it's resumed in assessing and supporting new approaches to deliver public services to citizens and other actors through open collaboration and innovation, public-private partnerships, interoperability and common infrastructure, and also inclusivity and awareness. So all these projects have delivered solutions that go towards this direction. But today, what is also the scope of the webinar, other than presenting all these projects and the solution that have been developed, is to discuss and debate whether these solutions will be can have real application in real life, and if they have fulfilled the actual challenges in order to deliver new forms for public goods and inclusive public services. As I was mentioning earlier, these 3 projects in particular are gathered today because, as you will also find out through the presentations that will be made by each speaker about the projects, have really in common the approach for citizen centricity. This is because we are, of course, I'm not even going to say we are going towards, because we are already towards digital democracy. But digital is actually more than the intersection between people and technology. So these projects are really trying to go forward this approach to just kind of impose or push technology for services, and trying to find new innovative approach, especially because we have to also fulfill a gap that will be regarding inclusiveness in digitalization. Not only that, but recent research, for example, the recent e-government benchmark produced by the European Commission for this year, so 2023, still shows that almost half of Europeans have some concerns in terms of trust towards public services, towards services provided by the government, and in general, their security when providing data. Of course, now data is, we can say, the new money, so it needs to be managed in a safe and secure way. But how can organizations, also public organizations, do this when citizens still are lacking the type of trust that is needed towards the organization that are taking care of this? Therefore, for example, digital identity and the interoperability framework and many other initiatives that have already been in place, for example, in the European Union for quite some time, are definitely an opportunity to try to gain that lacking trust from the part of population that still holds back to utilize the services, not just to view this as the new technological alternative to provide services, but to view this as an opportunity for increasing the efficiency and the security in these services. And of course, this has to follow the approach of giving the citizens opportunity to control their data, not to feel like they don't know, they cannot trust government or public services because they have no idea on how their data will be used and managed. So these projects are really putting in place solutions that try to overcome these gaps. In particular, across, which is the, let's say, short name for the project, toward user journeys for the delivery of cross-border services, ensuring data sovereignty, has the objective of providing a holistic solution that allows public administration to deliver a user-centric, interoperable cross-border mobility service that is compliant with all the regulations, but that ensures the data sovereignty of the citizens. So it is in the mission of Across to ensure this for the final users. The same is for mGov4EU, which stands for Mobile Cross-Border Government Services for Europe. And of course, Detlef will tell us more about this later in his presentation. The objective of mGov4EU in general is to design, implement, and evaluate an open ecosystem for the mobile government service that can be used also across Europe. And they really want to push forward the practical use of being inclusive with mobile services, and the services have to be in line with citizen expectation for safe, resilient, and sustainable mobile communication. So we can see even here the concept of safety towards citizens. Finally, GLASS, which stands for Single Sign-On E-Governance Paradigm, based on a distributed file exchange network for security, transparency, cost-effectiveness, and trust. It's even in the name of GLASS that their objective is to give citizen control, because GLASS will provide a distributed framework for sharing common services of public administration across the European Union for citizens, business, and governments, with the goal of giving citizens the control over their personal information. And Marisa will tell us also more about in detail how GLASS has pursued this objective in its final solution. And without further ado, I would like to give to Enrique the word right now for making the presentation about Across project as our speaker involved today, and also for telling us more about the component of the transparency dashboard that is the solution that tackles the personal data sovereignty in this project. So Enrique, please, I leave you the floor to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Yasmin. Try to share my screen. And let me just make it bigger. Sorry. Did you see the full screen?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Okay, first of all, Yasmin, thanks a lot for the introductions. You are going to save me a couple of slides because you have already said more of what is the real or the main objective of the project, or even the mission. So this is already been introduced by Yasmin. So I will just add a couple of words why we are always talking about cross-border services and why we think it is very important that we ensure the data sovereignty of the citizens. It all comes from several studies when it looks like all the citizens, they mainly rely on the digital public and private service within, mostly the public service in their own countries, in their own member state, but they do not so much rely on what the other governments from the other member states do with their personal data. So that's probably one. There might be others, of course, but this is one of the main reasons why the level of coverage, of the level of acceptance of cross-border services is still not as high as expected by the European Commission, and of course it is quite below what regarding what is the implementation of digital services per member state. One of the reasons is because the mostly people they fear that when the personal data is out, they feel it is out, and they do not have control. So they probably get a lot of marketing messages that they do not like to have. So that's probably a nightmare and something that we would like to avoid. So one of the main targets in Across was to try to figure out a way so that the citizens has always complete control on the personal data and how they would like this data to be used by the different services that will be done in what we call a user journey. And what is a user journey from the Across perspective? We have to more or less define like this a journey, in fact, is movement from one member state to another member state, where you would like just to go for one specific task. You might go to for work, study, even tourism, or even in some cases for health, or many others. I mean, we are open. We will just select it, a couple of them in the Across project. We will just talk a little bit about that. And to comply this movement from one country, one member state to another member state, for example, for work, there are many services that are already implied. Not only you need to just to get some kind of official documents, you might also need just to, if you are moving to another country, you might need also just to work with what is going to happen with your health insurance, what is going to happen with your accommodation, if you are moving with your family, how you will just find a school for your kids, and all of these kind of things. No? So it's a journey. It's not just you are just getting services. You are the movement will imply they are going through different services just until you are finally set up in the new country. Okay, so that's a bit it. In as we are a project for the Horizon 2020, we have to decide it on an amount set of different use cases. And in our case, we are, for the time being, and this will also be an invitation later when we finish, so that you can also try the platform. You can also try our solution. Is working, and it's already in an assessment phase. But for the time being, we have 3 countries. We have Latvia, we have Greece, and Germany. 2 specific use cases to work or study, and then we have, for the time being, we have defining, or we are testing 5 different user journeys. For example, from Latvia to Germany for study, and so on and so forth. Okay. So, what is the approach? And my intention is, I will just talk a little bit about the different components are here, but then I will focus on something what we call it the transparency dashboard, which is the personal data framework. How we will tackle with personal data sovereignty, and then I will move to a live demo, and I hope that we don't have this demo effect and everything works. So that's but I think it's better to see how it works than going there as a slide by the slides. Okay, but what you will see, in fact, is in this picture is how it works when everything is operational. There are several components in Across. Okay, if you move from the left, you have what is called the citizen. The citizens will interact with what we call the citizen front end. This is the front end of where you can define. You can select the journey from where you are going to move, or what are the different services that it will be involved within this journey. And of course, we have virtual assistants to make your life easier. And if you go to the bottom, you see the transparency dashboard. And the transparency dashboard is where the citizen will have the full control of the data. Okay. So it's, if this for any specific reason, this citizen does not like to give a certain service permission to one of their personal data, like, for example, their address or their name, they can decide not to give it, and this service will not have this data. Okay, even if they request it. And to do this, we have in the middle, what's something we call the user journey service engine, that is not only invokes the services, but also enforce that what the citizen has decided to do with the personal data is done. Okay, so if the citizen has said, do not give my personal data to that specific services, the user journey will block it. Okay, this personal data will not be given to that services, even if the services has defined those personal data as mandatory. Okay. So we will give full control to the citizen. Let me try to And now it happens that I cannot move the slide. Okay. Well, this is just as a complementary slide. Before we have all of them, we have been talking about the services. We have been talking about the journey. This is not like you get it and you have everything. First, you have to have all the services. They will need to be in a service catalog. This is also one of the main components of the across solution. We will not talk today about the service catalog, but it's also very important. And we have the modeling tool. Okay, now the modeling tool will help up to any specific partner in Europe that would like just to define one specific journey implying different services. They can do it. Okay, it's not the tool is completely flexible. The platform is completely flexible. You can define, and whenever you need, there's a market niche for a potential journey, you can do it. Okay, as it's not that what we are offering is what it is. Just finally, this slide before I move into the presentation is that we have the design goals that we have in the course. Of course, it was data sovereignty, to give full control to the citizens about the personal data. We have to have something which is a trusted platform, and for that, what we decided in the beginning is that the platform will never store any sensitive data within the platform. Okay, so we are just controlling the flows of personal data, but we will never store it. So we don't have some kind of a potential point of breaking the information, someone hacking the system and getting the information straight from the cross solution. We are just following the single digital gateway regulation, and we are fully compatible with the once only principle, so that once you have been authenticated by, for example, either in one country, once it is fully operational, you will be also authenticated in the public administration of the other member states in Europe. And we are also working, and it is compatible with the usage of personal digital wallets. And today, well, I'll say, of course, the one from our colleagues that they will be show later, the mGov4EU, but also for the European digital wallet. Okay, so this is a little bit what you've seen here, the different components. And let me see if I manage just to move to the presentation without breaking anything. So let me just up. Do you see the yeah? Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, something that well, this is the username. You shouldn't know that, but you don't know the password. So let's go directly into the signing in, and then what we go to the sorry. Okay, so now we will go. This is as you see here on the left side, you have the different possibilities that you can do with a cross solution. I am using the desktop version, but you can also use it with your mobile. It's working in both platforms. Today, we are just going to focus on transparency dashboard, okay? And we are directly here in the dashboard, and we have a brief overlook of how your personal data is being used and what are the different options that you have to control it themselves. A good thing is you can change the language. Okay, so you can just move it and you put it in currently in the language that are for the pilot partners. But I mean, of course, if we can just put it in any language that we would like to. And in the first dashboard, we also have even a tutorial so that you can just go directly into the tutorial and understand how it works. Going before just going, well, we also have the event logs. It's just like tracking wherever you are doing with the transparency dashboard. This is very useful just to for auditing. Okay, if as we are just working with sensitive data, if for whatever reason something happens, or maybe this personal duty has not been used in the ways that it should, because you have not, for example, you have denied the access to a personal data, and for whatever reason the service provider got the personal data, then you need to check here to see who's been the fault. I mean, if it's been the fault because you have not been granted, or it's been the citizen that has not even just deny the access to the data or when. Okay. The first thing that what you go here is you go to the available services, and here you have the services that in this case they need to be provided consent. Okay, once, for example, you go into a defining you select one specific user journey, and in this journey, for example, you might imply. Like in this case, like a birth certificate, a family status certificate, and European health insurance card, like for example. And before being just invoked, you need to give them permission to be used. Okay, you need to give them consent. So the first thing that you will do, well, here you have a couple of examples. In this case, one of them, the consent is denied. And this one, as the PIN, has been granted, and even in the last one, it has been withdrawn. The difference between withdrawn and denied is once you have decided to withdraw the consent, it means that this will not be possible just to be granted again until you can make it. You need to create the consent again. Okay, it's like you're saying, okay, I don't rely on these services for whatever reason. I don't want this service to use my personal data at all, so I withdraw any consent to it. If later on I change my mind for whatever reason, I need just to give the consent again. It's not the case with granted or denied, because here you can change from denied and granted wherever you like. Okay. If you need just information, you just press here and you see what is the personal data that you have denied or that you have granted access. Okay. You also have information about the data controller. Okay. And you may also have more information here. So you have all the information that you need about what you are doing in the platform itself. So once you have created the consent, then you go to the consent manager, and the consent manager is where you decide what to do. Okay, in this case, well, we can just even try just to go one of the services that they have created consent. For example, let's create here a consent, and as you see, you can select only the ones which are mandatory, and you can select all or unselect all. In this case, all of them are required. No, here, for example, there is one which is not required with the phone number. So you say, okay, yes, I select only the ones which are mandatory. When I'm saying mandatory is because the service provider has decided that if this information is not provided, the service will not be invoked properly. Okay, so it might not even work. Okay, but you need, and this is something that also our legal department has told us, you need just to give always the citizens the capability to decide to say no, even to mandatory consents for personal data. So in this case, we have decided all the mandatories. We will not give permissions to the phone number because it is optional. So we will accept, and then we have this. For this European health, we have already the permission. Okay. Now, if we go to the consent manager, now we will see here the European health insurance card like granted. Okay. For the time being, you don't have any usage policies, something that we need just to go later, and you have it granted, and of course you can deny it here. Okay, and you can even just see what are the different personal data that you have give consent. Okay, you can even just decide here, even just to say no to the street address one, because for whatever reason you don't want to know then what is there. I'm not going to extend because I'm just extending too much, taking too much time. But then before here, when you can go to see the personal data. This here. Okay, I am concerned about who services are using my email address. And there's only the European Health Insurance Services is the one that is using the, and I have given the consent to use it. I can even remove it here if you like, okay? But you say if you are sure, then you will not give the permission, so I will cancel it here. And then, of course, then I have given consent, okay? But then I can also just say, I can just apply usage policies, and usage policies, it is like additional information about how all this data is going to be used. And when I say how, I'm saying establishing, for example, different policies of, like, for example, when this data is going to be used, for how long, and all these kind of things. This is also also following the European regulation. Like, for example, let's say here I might just decide just to add another usage policies, and then I will take the one with the European health insurance card. I make the descriptions like usage policy or whatever. Okay, and then I need to add a policy, and as I say, you can just say provide full access. That means just giving a usage for as long as you like. As long as I just provide access, then I can prohibit the access. But I can say, okay, I can just allow you to use it. You can just download my personal data n times. Like, for example, let's say here, say 2 times. Okay, then I add the policy, and then I might add another policies, because you can make it as complex as you like. And you can just download it 2 times, but well, let's make it, and then I can just say, okay, from the 17 until the 19. Okay, then I have it here, and I have now 2 policies. This is the one which is going to be used for 2 times during this interval, this time period. Okay, I save it, and now I will have my have 2 usage policies that I can even just go here and check what are the policies that it will be applied to my specific personal data. I don't want just to go. I think it's more or less it. I will. Well, I mean, the invitation. I would just move, or maybe I am a bit out of time. But well, I could conclude here without going to the slides and try to say just a couple of takeaways here. As you say here, you provide just the full consent. The control of your personal data is for every services that are being implied in the user journey, and you can even. We do have something that we call it the panic button. Okay, sometimes the user or the citizen, they might not have the knowledge, but they, for example, they are feeling that their personal data is not being used in the right way, so they just go, they are here and revoke all consent, and everything is deleted. So then, from then on, no services could use their personal data until it gives the consent again. Okay, so it's like a panic button. Okay, don't someone is not using things as I was expecting, so please revoke all the consents. So you get full control for every personal data for every services along the user journey. And that, of course, my final words here were like, this is a working platform, not only for the transparency dashboard, but for the whole platform. And we are inviting any interested partner that would like to test it. Jasmine will be very glad just to offer her contact details so that you can just join and test it yourself, so you can believe it that everything is working and as it should be. So that's all from my side. Sorry if there are more questions, I will just get them there during the debate. So thanks.
Thank you very much, Enrique, and you did good in reminding that if anyone is interested, of course, we can share contact details also through the this chat and the confirmation link that participant got for joining today's webinar. Thank you very much for your detailed presentation and for providing the demos of the transparency dashboard. It's good to see the achievements made by this project in this journey. So very glad to see it working, and I know that there will be organizations interesting, because it's a very interesting solution. And I would also now like to give the word to Marisa for actually telling us more about the solutions that have been developed from Project Glass. Marisa, please, if you want to make your presentation.
Sure, let me share my screen.
Thank you.
Can you see my presentation?
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so thank you for having me here. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Marisa Conidi, and I'm a senior project manager at Unisystem, that is a coordinator of the class project. Unisystems is a European information and communication technology company. It delivers a wide range of products and services and help the customers adapt and excel in the rapidly changing, let's say, challenging business environment. But today I'm going to discuss about the glass approach in the public services and all the discussion about the personal data sovereignty and protection. Uh, okay, so as Jasmine mentioned before, GLAS stands for Single Sign-On e-governance paradigm based on a distributed file exchange network for security, transparency, and cost effectiveness and trust. It started at the 1st of January 2021, and it will land at the end of this month. So we are in the last weeks, let's say, of the project. Okay, our consortium consists of 11 partners from 6 countries, 1 large enterprise, 4 dynamic SMEs, and 3 academic and research organizations, and 3 public authorities, our let's say demo partners. So what is our motivation? Driven by the government action plan and by taking advantage of emerging ICT technologies, we developed and delivered a public distributed infrastructure and the distributed ledger. Our solution are in accordance with related EU policy priorities. They advanced the mobile services delivered to citizens and contribute to the digital by default principle for government and local authorities, as well as the once only principle that sets the baseline for the minimization of bureaucratic processes and data generating, and thus it leads to cost efficient practices. We also foster inclusiveness and accessibility and openness and transparency, and we enable all partners to participate and operate in a by design efficient, cost-effective, secure, and cross-border distributed network for data exchange and service delivery. So, following from what I just mentioned, our vision is to introduce a citizen-centric and e-governance model for public administration services that can automate and the processes and safeguards the integrity of interactions among the citizens, businesses, but also public authorities. And it can transform the e-government practices to be cross-border by design, to have open government capabilities. They can improve trust and confidence, but also value and well-being, and they facilitate access to markets. And here we can see how GLAS enable organizations to join a secure and trustable distributed network to demonstrate the capacity of a modernized e-governance model. Here on the right, we can see the breakthrough solution of the GLAS approach compared to the current paradigm where the end user needs to go through multiple visits with physical presence, along with a lot of waiting time and human effort. And on the contrary, GLAS acts as the paradigm for various cross-sector and cross-border governance operation applications, of course, respecting and following the EU policy priorities and having the citizens in the center and connecting them with various public authorities and private organizations. So what is our ultimate goal is to make the public administrations and public institutions open, efficient, and inclusive, providing borderless, digital, personalized, and citizen-driven public services for the EU population. And how we do that? The proposed distributed governance framework utilizes the interplanetary file system, the IPFS P2P public distributed network, that plays the role of the file storage system in a distributed manner with respect to the pillars that an e-governance model aims to support. Complementary to this P2P network, a distributed ledger tracks and continuously supervises all the transactions occurring between users, keeping an immutable transaction record with traceability functionalities and of course ensuring trust. Um, we operate these activities through distributed applications, the DApps, the so-called DApps, that enable the document exchange and data sharing over the network and act as the main interface gateway so that operational stakeholders, citizens, businesses, public administrations can use the services of the network through their mobile devices. Also, smart contracts define their functionalities and are designed to operate over the distributed ledger. And the single sign-on wallets provide a single documentation management tool for different applications running on the same ledger uh, without, let's say, a single point of failure. All the documents are exchanged within the network are encrypted and stored in this IPFS, while the transactions records are generated on the ledger. And finally, Glass also develops the AI data schema transformer that enables interoperability between heterogeneous and non-standardized data schemas, allowing any public entity, regardless of its interoperability readiness, to join the network and transform its services. Here we can see a figure of the conceptual architecture, of the high-level architecture of the project. We offer a holistic e-governance service suite that securely hosts and effectively manages public common mobile services for citizens, businesses, and public administrations. And all the individual modules, along with the file storage system, are designed to be built on top of a distributed file storage system, the so-called IPFS, and the distributed ledger that is configured to be aligned with the needs of the project. Okay, so let's talk about a bit more about this single sign-on or wallet as a service. Our service is designed to be accessible and user-friendly, offering the convenience of both a mobile application while being reachable through the web browser. We also prioritize security and data recovery. With our key sharding algorithm, the users can regain access to their wallet even in the event of a loss or compromise. About the single sign-on features, the users can simplify their digital life as they don't need to remember multiple passwords, so they enjoy seamless access to their favorite services, let's say. Um, Also, our service facilitates secure and controlled data sharing, putting the user in charge of their information while allowing them to collaborate effectiveness. They also can take control of their keys and ensure the security of their digital assets, as our platform provides robust key management solutions. They can manage their decentralized identifiers effortlessly, so they enhance their digital identity management, and they maintain a secure and tamper-proof record of important evidence and documentation. As I said, our ecosystem supports a wide range of dApps for various purposes. Um, the users can seamlessly connect with the e-governance ecosystem, with ensuring efficient and secure access to government services, and they can enjoy control of over their data and interactions between different apps. So leading that to the to security, privacy of their data. And finally, our platform provides access to native APIs for building and extending functionalities as needed. But why we need that? Because a multifunctional single sign-on wallet uh, can manage users' transactions from interactions with multiple services. Because citizens may decide what information to share with whom and when. Because the wallet enables a two-way digital interaction path without central authorities, making the citizens owners of their personal data. The wallet is controlled by an integrated web-based interface or a mobile app, enabling participation of all relevant communities, the elderly, migrants, people with disabilities, or people with a limited digital knowledge. It is accessible only to the user, and it has the ability to bypass the most bureaucracy for processes that should be simple by default. Okay, this is, I think, my last slide. Our project has 3 different use case scenarios and 3 public authorities playing the role of the demo partners. The Greek Ministry of Digital Governance, the Ministry of Justice in Portugal, and the Istanbul Metropolitan University. These 3 cases are tailored to demonstrate, to showcase the core of the Class wallet functionalities. The first one is about Alice, where an individual Alice wishes to move to a foreign EU country for working or educational purposes. Second one is about Konstantinos. This is the case of a short-term cross-border moving for health, for education, for traveling of marginalized people, such as the elderly, the disabled people that demand special treatment and special services to facilitate their moving and need a proxy to go through all these bureaucratic processes. And the third one is Helene. This is a case for validation of the education achievement by an employee seeking to hire a young individual from another country. Unfortunately, I haven't prepared a demo. It would be nice to show you how the wallet works because it's ready and it can be, let's say, tested by the people. But I hope that in the future we'll have this opportunity. So thank you very much for your time, and I will be here for some time for questions.
Thank you, Marisa. Thank you very much for your detailed presentation. It's very interesting to see what Glass has achieved, what solution has developed, and also to make a comparison with the across, and we will
That's
make
true because
now.
there are some similarities. I mean,
There are,
there are
yes,
some
and
platforms, but developed with different technologies, let's say. But the purpose it's more or less the same, and that's
yes,
it was very nice
exactly.
also to see the presentation from Enrique and try to find commonalities and differences between these two platforms. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
I agree, and thank you. And now I think I would like to leave the word to Detlef for showing us the mGov4EU solution, because I think that also it's another project that has developed a complementary solution to what we have discussed about. So I think it would be even more interesting to discuss this after Detlef's presentation, to have a round of final thoughts about how all the projects have tackled the same challenge. So Detlef, please.
Thank you, Yasmin. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So it's a great pleasure to be here today and present some of the really amazing results of the mGov4EU project. And today I will focus on the eIDAS signer and the wallet component. We have 4 agenda points. The first point is to recap what the mGov4EU project is all about, what kind of mission we are following. Then we will talk about the eIDAS signer and the mGov4EU digital wallet. And after this, we will certainly have time to have a discussion and answer open questions. So the mGov4EU project is one of the three e-government projects from the cluster, and we are about to finish the project during this month. So many colleagues are right now busy with writing the last deliverables, but I can also talk about some of the really nice results. The mission of the mGov4EU project is to kind of put the citizen at the center of everything and bridge the gap between the eIDAS layer on the bottom, which provides strong and trustworthy identities and transaction security mechanisms like signatures, and the SDG layer, which provides the single digital gateway mechanisms to exchange data between member states and e-government services when they are doing business abroad. So the important part is that the citizen is at the center of everything here, and has in the end the mobile wallet or some other application to control this. And today we will see that the mGov4EU project does not only bridge the gap between single digital gateway and eIDAS, but also within the eIDAS system there's also a gap between the eID part and the trust services part. And we will see how the mGov4EU project also bridges this gap. So we briefly talk about the eIDAS signer. And this is a picture which is a couple of years old, but still valid for the eIDAS ecosystem. And it's important to understand that eIDAS mainly consists of two parts, namely the eID part with currently 32 notified eID schemes. Those are those are running by the member states, and we've got 260 qualified trust services across Europe. And among those qualified trust services, today we are especially interested in the 189 qualified trust services which happen to issue qualified certificates for electronic signature purposes. So if you go to eid.as, you will find a menu link for the trust service provider map, and this is a current screenshot which shows that there are currently 189 QTSPs for electronic signature. So it's interesting to see how this number is developing. So we started with a much lower number, about 100 QTSPs, and now we have almost 200. So the market offering is still growing. It's interesting to see, and the map will show the current state always. And there are 32 pre-notified eID schemes. Maybe you could have a closer look at the link down here, and it shows that almost all European member states are already issuing an eID which is either accepted across Europe, this is the green color, or is already notified and will be soon accepted on a European level, or recently started this, like Romania and Cyprus. This is the orange color, which just entered the process of peer review. So the orange color is the member state notifies its EID solution. Then there is a yellow phase for the peer review. If the peer review is concluded, then there's a publication in the EU journal. And 1 year after the blue color, it will automatically turn to green. And this is the point where EID solutions are accepted on a European level. Today we have those 32 EID schemes, and we have 25 which are already in the green phase and which are accepted by all member states. So the mission of mGov4EU is to build the bridge between the EID and the AS, the trust service part of the eIDAS regulation. So we got the EID part and the trust services part, and mGov4EU, sorry about this. The mGov4EU project bridges the gap and puts the the citizen at its center. And so the the goal of the project is to integrate EIDs and remote signing services, and this was done here and provided currently free of charge under signer.eid.as. So if somebody from Germany or Austria is here, please go to signer.eid.as and create signatures. The technical system is outlined here. It consists of a mobile web application, the e-signature front end, which talks to a client application, which in turn issues API calls to a backend. And there's a future option to use a specific mobile application to do this, which will have the same functionality as the signature front end, but with an improved user experience. There is also the future option to integrate the digital wallet system, which is will be provided with eIDAS 2, and we will talk later on a little bit more about this integration. The signature backend service talks to the eID system and uses and integrates the different eIDs of the member states. And finally, there is also an option to provide service provider specific signature workflows as shown here. So I would recommend to go to signer.eid.as and just try it. Play around with it. It's free of charge. So I will provide an overview of such a signing process. It starts with registering for the service, and then you have such a kind of dashboard where you can upload some documents. You can specify a message which will be shown to the signatory. You can invite others to sign, or you can sign yourself. And you will specify who will receive the invitation to sign, and you can review what you are doing. You can display the document which is to be signed and start the processing. Then you will be redirected to the corresponding EID solution. In this case, this is redirected to the German EID. And after this, you will have the signed document. So it's pretty simple. And the interesting part is that this can be used with your EID, and you do not need to go through any video identification, and so it's much faster, provided you have your EID and your corresponding PIN. So let's come back to the mission of the project. The project was starting to bridge the gap between EID and trust services, and this is what we are going to do. Currently, we only support the German and the Austrian EID, but we are already working on integrating more EIDs, so this is expected, soon to come. And we also plan to integrate more qualified trust service providers via hopefully standardized interfaces or proprietary interfaces if this turns out to be necessary. So this is the long-term vision, to integrate all EIDs and as many as possible qualified trust service providers. And so by looking at this, this is also the vision of eIDAS 2 and the European Digital Identity Wallet. And so we see a lot of similarities with our approach and the European Digital Identity Wallet and eIDAS 2. And so we are very curious which approach will be faster in the end. So for the digital identity wallet, we implemented, of course, a self-sovereign identity scheme in which we have an issuer, a holder, and a verifier using verifiable credentials and verifiable presentations. So this is well aligned with the pertinent standards, and so the prototypical implementation of the wallet it allows to add an ID by redirecting to ID Austria, for example, and you, after an authentication process, you will receive a credential, and this credential from ID Austria can later on be used for service providers. And in the long run, there will be a selective disclosure procedure in order to minimize the data to disclose and provide only the attributes to which you provide the consent. So the main achievement in the mGov4EU project is a solid set of open source libraries for the wallet. And so the digital identity wallet is not finished yet, but it provides a good basis for future development. So please feel free to go to GitHub /acid and look for the open source which has been produced in the project. And this concludes my talk, and I'm happy to discuss with you open questions and further paths for future development. Thank you.
Thank you, Detlef, for your presentation. It's very interesting also to see the achievements of mGov4EU. I think overall, in general, the projects have made amazing achievements and solutions, because I can see there are all, actually finished, functional, final products, and this is not something to take for granted when we're talking about research projects. Their research project the last 3 years. also we have to take into account that COVID has been in the middle during all these projects. So I think that I just congratulate all of your teams, including across team, because I think they're really amazing results. I think they're really pushing the boundaries of what this topic and call Finance by Horizon 2020 was centered around. And I think especially these three projects are very complementary, and I know, but I will leave the word to the speakers, that there have been already synergies in place. So other than doing dissemination and communication activities like we are doing right now, webinars, just sharing results, there have been concrete steps in the past among all projects, and I would like to just have a round of comments, starting maybe from Marisa, because I know that she has a commitment in a short time. So it will, if she can maybe give us a couple of final words before joining her next commitment. We were commenting earlier after the glass presentation on how you see the complementary and the differences between glass and the cross, but what is your general outlook on the solutions that have been developed by all these three projects? What similarities and what differences do you see in the developed solutions in this sense, following the presentations?
As I could see also from the presentation of Detlef and about the mGov4EU project, the three projects are trying to cover, let's say, the same needs of the citizens. So, of course, there are projects under the same goal. So that was the ultimate objective for. I mean, to how to deliver public goods for public services for citizens, and they all try to minimize all these processes of citizens, but of course with different technologies and maybe from some projects from different perspectives. That's why, as you said, they are complementary. They're not only they're okay, they might try to cover the same needs by let's say using different technologies, but some of them can be really, if they join together, to make a more holistic, let's say, solution for the citizens. So that was very nice to that was very nice to see from the project that within these synergies, let's say with synergies with other projects, we could also make other more holistic solutions for the citizens, and that's the most important.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for your comments, Marisa. I agree with you, and I would also like to hear it from Enrique and Detlef. And I would also invite the other attendees to, if they have any questions or comments, to just leave them in the chat or raise their hands so we can address them with the speaker. So thank you again, Marisa, for.
Unfortunately, as I said, Jasmine, I have to leave for another commitment. But thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation, and have a nice afternoon.
Thank you for joining and for your contribution, Marisa. Thank you very much. Goodbye to you. Thank you. Enrique, I would like to get back to you from where we started. What are your comments so far? Because I know that across and mGov4EU had well, the both projects have synergies going on already, also in other sense. How do you see these two projects being complementary in a real life case, actually, real applications?
Well, in fact, from the very beginning, well, we've been in contact with some of the partners of the mGov4EU because we wanted to have something which we didn't collide, but more complement. We even know some of the well, from other participation in other previous projects, or some of the people that were there, and that's why we decided to focus more on how to control the flows of the personal data more than working on the wallet, because we knew that mGov4EU was going to do a good work. We know that the people were very experts on that, and so we more or less decided, we don't have resources to couple with everything, and so we say, okay, there's going to be a wallet. We hope to come mGov4EU, or finally, if they come for the European Commission, which is probably a new version of what the mGov4EU is working, because I think the people for mGov4EU are already involved also in the definition of the European digital wallet. The other thing, that's why you say, okay, we will have the electronic identification in the wallet, because they are working on that. So we will allow the across to use the electronic identification from the wallet. And we also were thinking, okay, and if there's going to be some kind of documents, private documents with personal data, with sensitive data, they will be stored in the wallets. Okay, so we were thinking like for whatever document that is signed, or this for that specific citizen, we could retrieve it from the service provider, and our intention was just to store it in the wallet, because the wallet will just have some kind of a lot of precautions, encryptions, so that this is kept safe there. And whenever we need it for one specific services, we will retrieve it from the wallet. So somehow from the very beginning, we were just focusing that both projects could complement each other rather than compete.
Yes, definitely creating synergies is always the best option. Detlef, would you like to comment on that as well?
Yes, I fully agree with Enrique that both projects have a lot of synergies, and so I think we had during the course of the project had different meetings with across and glass and share ideas and intermediate results and research directions. So currently, I think we have achieved that we are very complementary and could add to all projects could add value to the other projects. And so, for example, the dashboard you presented for transparency is very nice, and it's certainly also usable outside of the SDG context. In, for example, I think similar requirements exist for the European health data space, which is upcoming, when you provide consent to sharing health data, for example. This is another use case for your transparency dashboard. So the question for me is, what are your plans with the dashboard? Is it do you plan to provide a service with it, or is it available as open source? Or what are your plans after the project?
Well, this is something that we were just discussing in the last meeting. Of course, I mean, the first thing is they will be open source. Okay. What we were deciding is what kind of copyleft license should apply. We were discussions came because that the European Commission now is just trying to use the EUPL copyleft license, and probably for the transparency dashboard we will use that. It doesn't, but it will be a public code, so you can use it, and you can improve it or do whatever you like with it. So that's of course. I mean, this is mandatory for at least for the European projects, and we also hope that European Commission will tell us just to put all the code into this public repository to be used by other partners. In fact, one of the main principles that when we started is just to follow what they call it, how it's called the CEF building blocks, so that the different components of the cross solutions can be just also be considered in a separate way as different building blocks. So you don't have to use the whole across solution if you are only interested in one of the components. So you just use whatever you need. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you. Yes, this is very interesting because it's kind of also the concept of being accessible and interoperability, openness, and digital democracy in general. What do you, I just ask questions to you both because we are involved in two different projects, but they have synergies, so we can discuss in a broad sense. One of the, I wouldn't call it issue, but one of the questions, we also rose this in the last webinar that we had last week, and I think it's a recurring theme in Horizon 2020 project is what is next? What is missing right now after the project ends? For example, mGov4EU is ending in a few weeks, so this is just coming. And in general, what can be the next step for these solutions, these projects to really become in use among citizens? Because sometimes we work a lot on this project, they're user-centric, they're citizen-centric, a lot of effort is spent, a lot of research, a lot of paper, a lot of discussion. And then it looks like maybe something is missing to go forward. So I like to ask to both of you, what do you think are the next steps to really try to bring this project into real life more than they are already, but to become real actual solutions and applications accessible for citizens? Detlef, would you like to comment on that?
Yes, I think we need to distinguish the different building blocks we developed in mGov4EU. So, for example, the SDG building block will probably provide input for the CEF building block, which focuses on SDG, and the wallet library, which is the verifiable credential library, which is released as open source, has already been used in productive environments in Austria for a NEET project for minor and pupils ID. So there's a real productive product already based on this development, and I'm sure that the colleagues from ACID, they are also involved in the IDAS2 collaboration network, and they are working on specifying the wallet, and as all the member states will issue such a European digital identity wallet, I'm pretty sure that this library will also enter the Austrian digital identity wallet, and probably more identity wallets around Europe. And finally, for the signer.eIDAS, for the eIDAS signer, the goal is clear. We will provide this as a service to interested citizens, and we will integrate more eIDs. And while we currently only have Austria and Germany, it's clear that we will integrate the other eIDs to make this possible, to use the eIDs for generating advanced and qualified signatures. And we will integrate more remote signature services to have to push forward the development of the market in this area. This is our long-term vision, and we hope to be able to push this forward one way or another. So the journey just starts after mGov4EU.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. That's great. Enrique, what you would like to add, for example, regarding across?
Yeah, not only the transparency dashboard, but the whole project and the whole solution is already stable. And that's one of the things that we were missing is to try to create awareness in the community that there is something that they could use and is working, and to see if we are managing to engage the citizens. So that's why we started this assessment phase. And that's why we also, as an extension of 3 months, so that we can just try to show the tool to as many communities as possible. And this is also why we are also inviting the participants in this webinar, that if they will really like to try it, they will be more than welcome. Because our feeling is that once the project finishes, of course, the partners, they do not have any resources. I mean, everything is finished. You just embark in the new project, and you already just achieve very good things. And because you cannot support them later, it just remains there in the cupboard. I mean, that's and we really think, I mean, not only across, I mean, the other projects, from what I've seen here today, they do have very, very interesting results that could be used after the life of the project. So that so the thing is how we should do that, how we could just extend the life of what we have achieved with a lot of effort in all the project, so that finally the final target in our case, not only the citizens but also the service providers, how we can engage them just to use them. I mean, of course, in our case, we need somehow first to have the feedback from the citizens. So if they like it, probably more if they like it, if they love it, it will be better. And then, of course, engage service providers, because if we don't have content, it's good for one day, but they will not repeat with that. So that's not research. I mean, this is this is the follow up, but and really. I mean, we're trying. I mean, but I don't know how far we will go. I mean, let's say we do not succeed with that, we have spent 3 years working hard for something that it may happen that no one is going to use afterwards, and that will be a really pity.
Yes, I agree, and I think that the fact that you mentioned awareness is very important, because of course different stakeholders needs to be aware that this type of project solution, and that users are actually using it. They're not just theoretical users, but there are actual people testing, using real life situations, service providers putting effort, making implementation, and just drifting back to I would say, the topic in general of the webinar, because we are talking about solutions for personal data sovereignty, and we're talking about citizen centricity. As I mentioned, I recalled in the beginning, but you have all mentioned this throughout your presentation, the topic of trust. Trust is crucial in this sense, especially nowadays that I would say for a good bit of years right now, it's not something recent, but we have been moving now from, I would say, paper now to digital. And this also concerned money first, now identity and everything else. Now, some citizens might say, and I mean, we know it's generally true to say, well, systems cannot be 100% secure and safe. This is not possible. And we know this is true, but at the same time, paper is not, I would say, 100% safe either. This does not prevent fraud, data stealing, or anything. Now, the question is, just to reflect altogether about this topic after, all the solutions presentation. How much can these type of solutions really engage with citizens' trust. Is this sufficient, or there needs to be something else to really push that? Because we have talked about how trust can be a barrier to this, can be a barrier to adoption, can be even a barrier to digital democracy itself, because people don't have trust in their own government, in services. And this is really something to talk about. So what do you think? I would start with Enrique and also ask Detlef right afterwards. Do you think that these solutions, to what extent can they contribute? And at the same time, what can be missing on another side in order to really increase citizen trust in tools and systems and governments?
Oh, well, I think it's my turn to start. Well, as you say, I mean, it's an, 100% trust will never be achieved. I mean, what you need to achieve is what is called the feeling of trust. Is that that you as a citizen feel that because you are using these kind of tools, at least most of your data will not be used for other means like the one that they are supposed to. Okay. This is going to be, are we designing a tool that is 100% safe against hackers? No, of course not. Okay, we try, we make our best. We even have people that are analyzing that we are not a point of failure. But I am sure that now we are in a production, but we are in a control productions. Let's suppose that we are successful and we are just deploying it at a very high scale. I am sure that then there will be problems. We might face main in the middle, or I don't know, wherever it might happen. But so I cannot say by using our solution you will get 100% trust. But what I can say that at least giving the control to the citizen, you give them the tools so that they do not feel trust. They can just revoke consents, at least to those services that they do not feel safe, because for whatever reason they feel that this service provider they are just forwarding the data to any marketing company, and finally you get advertisement about whatever. Okay, but I mean, it's the war is feeling of trust. I mean, if they have the control, they might have the feeling that if something happens, they have the tools just to go back into the safe side. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Detlef, would you like to comment on that? Do you think that other than the solutions, of course, provided by this project, but not also from all the other projects in the cluster and other types of initiatives, can this be a sufficient enhancer for increasing citizen trust? Or what else is missing somewhere else in order to gain back this trust? The citizen will have to have at a certain point, but it's hard to get there for obvious reasons. What is your thought on that?
I think the important goals already have been picked up by the projects, like as a prerequisite for trust is it's important that the solution is secure, that it's easy to handle, to have an excellent user experience, to have to respect the privacy of the users, and so what you provided as an example in your transparency dashboard is very nice, and I would love to see something like this in the upcoming wallets, to have a sort of an overview of the different consents you provided, and to have the option to fine tune the usage, using usage policy for the data which have been provided, and so on. So privacy is also very, very important. User experience, transparency, So to provide building blocks as open source is a good approach and should be pushed forward in different other projects. And so I think we are on a good way. And there has been research about digital responsibility goals. This goes into the a similar direction. And if the solutions respect the user, put the user at the center of the design, and do what they can with respect to privacy, security, usability, I think we are on a good way.
Definitely, I agree with you, Detlef. Thank you. And you also mentioned a couple of concepts that I would like to develop a little bit further. You mentioned user experience, and this brings me back also to the concept of accessibility, but also of inclusivity. And this is something that has been tackled also in the last webinar with the other project, but I would also like to have the same comment this time from both of you, because we are talking about solutions, we're talking about EIDAS, we're talking about digital identity, transparency dashboard, and at the same time, we have to talk about digital divide, and we have to talk about the average age of citizens that is increasing, and we have to talk about the fact that we will have many more senior users, and on the same time, technology is going at a faster pace than ever, and more security from the user perspective sometimes means a lot of more complexity. I just give you a very quick real life example, because right now where I live currently, I don't have mobile signal, so I have to use Wi-Fi, but I cannot receive incoming calls. And every one of my accesses from Google to other website to log into my personal account will send me a text. And there is no way that I can receive this text to log into my own credentials without changing something else. And just to give you a small and easy example of real life frustration, and I know that a lot of users experience the same thing. So to sum it up, this is also an issue. How do you believe, in your opinion, also with these solutions, but with other types of solutions for digital public service, can we really make sure to be inclusive also towards people that don't have the sufficient right now digital literacy to make everything just easier and seamless for them? Detlef, if you'd like to comment on that.
Yes. So based on your experiences, I would guess that you moved to Germany. Because we have a lot we have a lot of white spots where the where Wi-Fi is the only option, and so it's, of course, we need to keep this in mind, that not everybody is living in Estonia where such problems cannot occur, but we need to have a smooth transition to the digital landscape, and also keep in mind that not every citizen is on the same speed with respect to going digital. And so we will still have paper, and it will take a long time also to convince especially the public sector to move to digital solutions. So we probably should create a nice bundle and push it forward of the 3 projects, and push it forward to policymakers in the different EU countries, and to show what is possible today, and hope that they pick it up and integrate it in e-government solutions. This would be a nice move, and I guess the European Commission would also be in favor of doing this.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Enrique, would you like to add onto that?
Yeah, a little bit. I make a little bit an experiment with my own parents. So that's yeah. I know first when I got the message for the European Commission that by the 2030, 80% of all the adults should be digital literate. Then I say, okay, let's try with my parents and see how far we can go. And and they have one in Spain. They have developed. It's quite nice. They call it the citizen folder, where you can access to the public administrations to get some very important, like your birth certificate or driving license, all in an official way. And then I told them, okay, yes, we have this. I tried myself, try to do it by yourself, and then just provided the link, so they started just downloading and installing the application. But then they say, okay, now you have to register, and say, oh, what? And then, well, you need just to put your face here or a video conference, and then we will send you by not by email, by postal mail, and a key that then you will need to use it. And then they say, after I think the third step, they say, okay, quit. Not going to use it. I mean, it's too complex for me. And even though once I finally convinced them to use it, and they have it, and then they were accessing the information, then after and I don't know, 1 month or whatever, they try to use it again, and then they say, okay, now you need to change again the key, or what is your role? And then you say, okay, come on, yes, no. It doesn't have to be so complex. I mean, especially for people just with an age. I know that security requires a lot of things, because otherwise, these malicious people will try to hack. But I don't know. I hope that with the European Digital Wallet, everything will be better and
yes, hopefully.
easier.
Hopefully, yes.
Yeah. So that's my expectation. I'm just eager just to see the European Digital Wallet working.
Definitely. Thank you, Enrique. And well, I would like to collect one, I would say, final comment from both of you, and also invite the audience, if anybody has ever a question or comment, to please provide that. Regarding cross-border services, because in the end we have also talked, we have mentioned this for both projects, but we haven't developed really this subject. What do you see, apart from developing these type of solutions, and they are functioning and they are in place, and we have talked about all the other interconnected topics, what do you see some barriers that need to be overcome for actually making sure that this experience can be as smooth as possible for citizens, and this type of solution really makes sense? And this is, I know, a tricky question, maybe there's no answer, but this is embedded also on how European Union is. We are 27 countries, 27 different, not 27 languages, but 23 languages, different regulations. Of course, we are different countries, and we're trying to go under one framework and making things easier. Do you foresee any other barriers that need to be overcome for ensuring a better cross-border services experience that are also outside of the solutions of the project that you have developed? Detlef, would you like to comment? Do you have any?
Yes, I could try. I think if you are looking at the policy making process and the currently way of operating important infrastructures like eIDAS, for example, and the SDG is very similar. And there will be additional infrastructures which also are required to work on a European scale. I think it would be good to have a little bit more transparency. So, for example, we had currently a very hot or still have a hot discussion around Article 45 of EIDAS 2. And so it would be good to have more transparency in this process and not to have the trilogue negotiations behind closed doors. This is not good. And in the same way, many processes are still not really open and transparent for all the stakeholders. And so Europe, I think it's on a good way, but we have still issues with respect to this level of transparency, because if some processes would be more transparent, then the users will have it easier to put trust in such infrastructures, and the development of really working solutions, it would be easier at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. Enrique, would you like to add something on what Detlef has mentioned, which I think are very two important points, definitely in this sense?
Well, a bit personal opinion. I mean, we know we have been fighting with making this working with cross-border services. We face the positive part. I would start with the positive part. I think that a lot of good work has been done, and I guess that more sooner than later, we will have things working and probably in a good way. But for the time being, it's still a lot of things to do. I mean, that even I mean that we have been also been trying to work with EIDAS. Remember in the projects for the authentication with Greece, Latvia, and Germany, and we had a lot of progress. It was not an easy way to move forward. So that's still we need just to work on that. I don't know, but I mean I know it's moving, and also as you mentioned, I mean the language barrier was something I wouldn't say funny, but there's because when we are trying just to engage service providers into our catalog to provide the services, they want to put them in their own language, and probably if someone is coming, if I am just going from Spain to go to Greece, and if the data is in Greece, I wouldn't understand it. I mean, so even the language is a barrier sometimes when you would like to access to the service from one specific member state. So that's small things there. I mean, we, of course, trust is the most important one, because if there is no trust, nothing will move, and the rest will come. I guess they will come, but there are still issues, yes. And but I really hope that we manage just to convince and also I would also mention that I wouldn't say that this is an example from the Spanish government. We tried to engage the Spanish government because they did have that application just to try with our solution in the cross. And sometimes there is some kind of like an ego part saying, okay, we have this and it can work in any member state. So why don't you use what I have? And they say, okay, this is part of it. You just solve only a part of it. This is just for people in Spain, not for cross-border services. They don't want to talk about any other thing. They say, okay, just move to the other countries and just connect. And we have done it. And when you just go to a different country, it doesn't work. I mean, so there is still issues, okay? And we are still probably it's not only technical. There are many other things that we also need to tackle with.
Yes, definitely. I think we can also say that there are cultural, I will call it, between, even the fact of openness, the language barrier, they're all cultural issues. And I think they belong to the fact that we are, European Union with all these countries, they all have cultural differences. So this is some kind of factor that needs to be taken into consideration. But I also think that coming across these issues is positive because it moves something. Because if nobody tries to put in place a solution or try to go knocking on different doors and trying to demonstrate that something else might be working, then nothing will move. And I think all countries will not be able to even communicate on more basic services. So I think that this is also a great opportunity to show that also from research and partners that come together from all different countries can create synergies and can actually tackle the needs, not only from the citizen side, not only from a business side, but from all the stakeholder sides. So I think all these projects are very important, going into the right direction. And I'm very glad to see that there are already so many real applications and real solution, really showing the effort and the opportunity that these projects represent. So I would really like to take the occasion to thank you very much again, both of you, for showing the project, discussing the components, focusing on the personal data sovereignty topic. And if you have a final comment, please feel free to share it. And again, I would like to thank you both for your availability, for participating, and for the very interesting discussion that has been brought today. And I am sure that all the projects will cross paths again in the future in concrete applications, because I see the premises are all there. So thank you very much for your effort.
You're very welcome, Jasmine. I just want to say one final word. Because I moved from the presentations to the demo, I forgot I didn't show the slide with all the partners. So I might feel that they might be disappointed not to see their logos in the presentation, but at least just to say that they are in our heart. I mean,
they are with us all the time. Definitely. Thank you, Enrique. And I just also take advantage of this mention, because we will be putting both webinars on the Across YouTube channel. So we have linked all the information through both the other projects and to our project page. So we have link also to the partners that you mentioned. So thank you again for your contribution. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation. It was a great pleasure. And yeah, I wish you a very nice Christmas period, and I'm sure that we will see each other in the next project.
Definitely,
sure.
Definitely.
Super. We will love to do that.
It will be a pleasure. It will be a pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone else for joining, and thank you again to all the speakers. And I wish you all a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have
Goodbye.
a great day.
Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.